What
Hi,
up?
Glenn.
How are you?
I am good. How are you today?
Whew, it has been a week. I think today I'm just like, I'm here. I'm here. I'm
I hear
having a
you.
day. Yeah. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I
Yeah.
think this is the final week, I think, of the retrograde. And so a lot of things have been kind of ushering its way out. And I'm like, okay, bye. Things have been coming in. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just been it's been a week, like you
Yeah.
said. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like ebbs and flows.
I don't know if it's something that you can relate to where it's like, it feels like I'm an empath. And so a lot of people are feeling things that I'm like, I have to sit with myself and say, am I feeling this
Yep.
or is this somebody else's?
Yep.
And I feel like that's been a big theme.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I see that there's some people joining us. Like the live, you guys. If
Yes,
you're
like
here
it
and
and
you're
share it.
watching, yeah.
I'm Mimi. I'm a shaman. I'm a teacher. I'm a healer. I'm an energy healer. I'm out of Huntington Beach, California, and I'm here with the amazing creator coach, Lauren, and she's going to share some amazing things for people who are creators and are experiencing spiritual awakenings. Some of the things in which that they can do and want to consider. Where I'm going to come from it from a spiritual aspect of it. So we're here. And also, if you're not following us, follow us as well because we got great content. Okay, that's simple. But yes,
Period.
Lauren, I'm going to allow you to actually get it started. And it's just going to be an informal discussion. We're going to ask lots of questions. Anyone who thinks that they may be experiencing some kind of awakening, feel free to drop your symptoms in the bottom, and I'll support you in that way as well. And it's just gonna be we were just gonna flow with it.
Love that. Yeah. So I guess first things first, I am I just love that you reached out to have this conversation because I was thinking originally that my spiritual awakening was during a period where I was having a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not necessarily like the circumstances that dictate a spiritual awakening so much as it is you realizing who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And part of my awakening was realizing how many times I have refused the call. I have refused.
Mm-hmm.
I have refused. I just got chills too. I have refused to understand like what I am here to give, that I am a creation as well as a creator. And and also like what's so scary is like the realization is so recent,
Yeah.
but it's also like time isn't real. So even that is a lesson in releasing your attachment to like how you think things need to unfold. You're just a small part of it, but you're
Yep.
an essential. Like this doesn't work without you,
Yep.
but at the same time, it will go on when you go on, you
Yep.
know? And the awakening for me was just like making space for all the paradox. And I think speaking in terms of like who Lauren Clark is, she's a story, right? She's a story that who I really am, gets to write in every single moment. And a spiritual awakening just means you are no longer writing your story by default.
Yep.
Like, you are the director, you're the actor, the producer, you have the pen in hand, and everything that comes out of your mouth comes into your life.
Yep.
And also that you're not alone, but you are creating with source, God, the universe, higher self, like however you want to phrase it, like you're in a state of co-creation once you kind of wake up to that.
Yeah.
So that at me as a coach, I work with artists mostly, a lot of writers, a lot of actors. I've dabbled in both of those arenas myself. I enjoy it, but I also feel like as a performer especially, I have been taught to like look outside of myself for validation. And when you are receiving it, it feels good. But the moment it stops, the moment you stop receiving it, you think it
Mhm.
means something about your own worth.
Yeah.
And I think that's why for me as a coach now, it's like the first thing we must do is build a spiritual backbone,
Yeah.
because you're not here to exist for any industry. You're not here to exist for any like suit, any executive.
Yeah.
You are here for a grander plan that even you can't fully understand. And the more you even try to put words to it, the more you still are just like, what the F? I still
Yeah.
like, there's still so much to explore,
Yeah.
So really for me, it's like, it's become a thing of, I enjoy writing and creating, but the biggest shift that my spiritual awakening has led me to is like, I'm less concerned about what's in it for me, so to speak, and I'm more concerned about like, how can I help using the gifts that I've been given,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I hear you. I
Yeah.
totally hear you. I have a different perspective on that
Okay.
because like you, I went through a spiritual because in our lifetime we go through many awakenings, and like I don't want to throw these terms around loosely for people who may not understand. A spiritual awakening, as Lauren said, is like a period of your life where like everything comes to a halt, and you begin to become aware that things are not happening to you but for you, that things are just shifting. You could have oftentimes it'll some of the symptoms include losing your job abruptly. Like you could have been a star player at the job, all of a sudden abruptly you lost your job, and it leaves you feeling like questioning everything about yourself. It could have been after a messy divorce, or a relationship that comes to an end abruptly, seemingly out of nowhere, when really along the way we always had signs of these things happening, but because we're not awakened to our life yet, we are sitting in a place in which we haven't yet awakened to our life. And so you could be living your life with your head down every single day, just like walking, doing the things that they taught you how to do. For me, I was taught to, like everybody else, go to school, get a good education, get a good job. And so
Same,
and
same.
so I did all that. But I remember being at my good job, quote unquote, feeling unfulfilled. Feeling unfulfilled. And so I remember sitting at my desk and just chatting away like I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. Because everybody else at the job seemed like everything was normal. So it's almost like your inner clock went off. Like, okay, it's your time to awaken. Everyone around you, I would ask questions like, "Hey guys, are you guys experiencing this?" Like, they're like, "Yeah, man, what you doing? You're doing too much, girl. You just do the job. Just do the
Right.
job. They're gonna pay you anyway." And I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. Like something inside me was like, "No, you cannot stay here anymore." And it was like, so this is what happens during awakening. Even if everything outside of you is trying to reinforce you and say, keep going the path that you've been going, something inside is going to say, no, stop, wait.
Yeah.
And you may not know what the next step is, but you'll know that this next step is not where you at right now. So that's what an awakening is. And so now that comes with so many other things. It comes with feeling high levels of anxiety. It comes with high levels of stress because we're taught that we are in control of our lives, which is the biggest lie they ever told us. They say, if you want more, go out and do X, Y, and Z, and you'll get more. If you want this, you're gonna go out and do this. And in reality, we are co-creating with the universe. And so it's not until we are willing to die to the old version of us that the new version, which was always there, that's the thing. That version was always there.
It's always there.
It was just hidden under so many layers of shit, of conditioning, of people telling you this is who you need to be, and you got to act like this, you got to talk like this, it was hidden under so many different layers of stuff that you don't even know who the hell you are anymore. So that was me for many years. Like when I went through my last awakening, and please believe, if you're a healer, teacher, whatever you are going to be going through multiple awakenings as well.
Yes.
And so there's no place of arrival. The moment you say, "Oh, I've arrived, I'm here now, I don't need to do anything else. It's the moment you start to die.
Mm.
You're always going to be awakening to a newer version of yourself, a more ascended version of yourself, a version of yourself that is less this world and more of your spirit, less this world and more of your spirit. And so that's why, as you continue to move on and thrive, you'll find that you'll just feel like, I don't know what I'm saying, but it's coming out. Just like right here, like I'm just talking, like legit. I don't even do notes anymore. I used to
Yeah.
be the person that would have like 20 bullet points and slides and stuff.
I
It's
love
like
that.
it's literally I'll just do 3 bullet points, and some way or another I wind up touching on everything in a way better than like had I broken it down, because I'm speaking to you, the person, but your spirit is hearing me, is hearing my spirit, and is feeling things on the inside. And so internally, you could be feeling like, this is resonating. I don't know how to apply it yet, but it's resonating. And so that's what we are here to share about, and to share this information to actually make you aware that you are not alone in this process. A majority of people are going through a spiritual awakening, even as we speak to right now. Even in your life, I can guarantee you there are about 2 to 3 people right now going through a spiritual awakening who are calling it depression, who are calling it a high functioning anxiety.
Yeah, for me it was like intense fatigue, and I feel like, as you were saying, like the spiritual awakening, it's an ongoing process and there's no point of arrival. I absolutely love that you said that. Because for me it's like I still have peaks of like the former version of me,
Yeah.
where like I slept 8 hours but I'm still sleepy.
Yeah.
Like where's the resistance, what's going on?
Yeah.
But I do think that there's something so beautiful about like just knowing who you really are, and being rooted in that in everything that you do. And I do think I'm like, things are significantly easier, even the hard stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, like paying attention to the symptoms and just recognizing them for what they are. It's like, this is just fear manifesting itself. And we do need fear, because fear does do its job well, and it keeps us alive and it keeps us safe. But sometimes you just have to call it for what it is, and it's just fear, And yeah, very similar to you, I've dropped the idea of like, I must prepare and I must work hard and have notes and know exactly what's going to come out of my mouth. Presence, pure presence now.
Yeah.
That's the name
Because
of
at
the
the end
game.
of the day, you are who you always were. And that sounds like a big philosophical thing, but you are who you always were. You're just being reintroduced to that version of yourself on a deeper level.
Waking up again and again.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so I like to be really clear when I say these things, because I feel like I had to go through a lot of trial and error to figure out where I was.
Yeah.
And so like, and I was explaining it to people like, this is what I'm feeling. And they're like, no, you're okay. You're okay. But I didn't feel okay in my body. I didn't feel okay in my body. And I'm big. I need to feel okay in my body. There are times where you may feel like you're having a break from reality, because you feel like there's something that's just inconsistent with your external environment that's going on up here. You know what I mean? So with the awakening, it comes to wake you up, yes, but wake you up so that you can be the fullest version of yourself. So it's nothing to be afraid of. Granted, there are fearful moments in it, because you're confronting parts of you that you probably pushed down for quite some time.
Absolutely.
And so whenever you push any part of you down, you are going to find that how it's going to come back and meet you again. It's going to come back. That's why everybody is always talking about Mercury retrograde. Oh my gosh, X is coming to your life. Things that you didn't finish are going to come into your life. In reality, if you were somebody that was actually confronting your shit on a regular basis, it wouldn't make you afraid.
That part. Whew.
It wouldn't make you
That
afraid.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Seriously.
and I mean, like, Mercury retrograde and eclipses and things like that, I'm like, yes, I pay attention to that stuff. But also, there's a season, there's a cycle in everything. You know what I mean? Even in paradise, there's a wet season and a dry season,
Yep.
you know, and
Yep.
recognizing that like it's like consistency or whatever. I feel like consistency is something that people love to talk a lot about on social media. And I'm like, we're human beings though. We're not robots. Like we're consistency for some of us is like we show up for part of the year and then we hide for another part of the year.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't need anybody to give me permission to express myself anymore. I can be
Hmm.
the fullest version of myself, as you were saying. And I want to recognize in the chat, it feels like there's some people who are already resonating with this
Yes.
discussion and hearing the shaman con was led here. Yeah, that's I love that
Oh,
comment
that
so much.
shaman calling. Oh man, it's no joke. That
Yeah.
shaman calling is no joke. Please share. What are some things that you're experiencing that is letting me know that you are hearing that shaman calling? Because it's a very real thing, and it's different from any other calling of a healer. Because the shaman calling, that's what makes you feel like you're going crazy. Because you feel like the wind is talking to you, the sun is fucking talking to you, the birds are chirping loud in your ears. It's so many different things. Because as a shaman, we are one with nature. And so as a result, our healing abilities, I don't just heal with my hands, I heal with nature or whatever. I send the wind to people. I like the dreams are really intense, dark sometimes, because as a
Yeah.
shaman, we merge both light and the dark energies together. And so and so yes, okay, he said prophetic dreams, intense initiation, my sensitivity is insane, and the animals. You got it. You got it.
Wow,
Yes,
that's beautiful.
definitely. Definitely. At the end, I'm going to share some information on what are some next steps in which you can take, or like, or like if you want to, you can go to my link in my bio whenever you're ready. But anyway, anyone else who is resonating with this, please feel free to share your information. I see Victoria has said that she's experiencing deep depression and honestly, and it comes in waves, right? Like everything comes in waves. All those feelings, it comes in waves, and you'll feel like I thought this was done with,
I know. Oh my
right?
God, yeah. Particularly after the week that we that we had. Um, it's like what really, really came through was just this idea that like in order to expand, it's like you have to go both ways. You
Yes.
know? So like the lows are just as necessary as the highs.
Yes.
And for you to get to a place where you can say, welcome to my human experience
Mm-hmm.
and just hold space for it. You
Yep.
know, I feel like, and that's honestly what like motivated me to start working with creatives because our resilience in the industry and as human beings who like want to continue creating and
Mm-hmm.
have careers that are like not just like, you know, in and out like the light or whatever, but longevity, you know,
Mm-hmm.
sustainable long careers. Like your resilience and your bounce back has to be beyond this world,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't understand creatives who like I'm finding that it's actually very rare for like truly prolific creators to not have something some
Mm-hmm.
kind of spiritual guidance to just like lean into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's all a matter of like learning how to build your own trust, your own faith
Yep.
muscles, and just
Mm-hmm.
knowing that, like, okay, maybe I'm really sad today, but like, what is this meant to teach me? And how can I, like, what is the loving response as I'm like maybe hiding right now and I'm in a bit of a hermit season? How can I show love for me in this moment, knowing that it's not forever, you
Yep.
know?
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Especially like you said, as with creatives, we just feel like we should be creating 24/7 or whatever. And in order for you to create, you need to able to have time to sit with yourself. See what is it? What is the message that your spirit has to share with the world? Because that's what you're doing in your creation.
Yeah.
You are literally sharing out your message in which in which your spirit has to put out into the world. Whether you are an artist in terms of the regular drawing, painting artist, or performance artist, a dancer, whatever. You need to be able to fully understand that message and put it out into the world before you can be concerned with, not even, without being concerned with who likes the message, how many likes this message got, or whatever, who's loving the message, who's shining light on this
'Cause
message.
that's looking for validation, right? That's
Yeah.
outside of you. And I feel like the thing that's coming to mind right now is like one of my favorite quotes from like Deepak Chopra, where he talks about like true self-power is knowing your own inner creativity, accessing like tools to compassion, caring, and like your just ability to go inward. But like there's these other powers that are very, very popular in our society, which are called agency powers, and people like they attach their worth to things like money and a network and just all being popular, a network of contacts and whatnot. But like as soon as those things are gone, you're also completely depleted.
You're left with yourself.
Yes, you are left with yourself. And so like thinking about like what true self-power is, I to me it's just the ability to be okay sitting with yourself.
Yeah, and for me, that took a long time to do because
Me
listen, I traveled the world. I traveled and lived in different countries, realizing now that how I was running from myself because of my environment and my trauma and all that. I just wanted to escape, and I found beautiful landscapes. I was like loved. The world loved me. Like spirit showed me and protected me and took care of me and sent people into my life who nurtured me and gave me so much healing love. But I realized that I didn't even know how to accept it at first. It was like, what does this person want from me? What is this?
Yeah.
I remember being in a waterfall in Bali, and this person was like, come, I'll take you to the waterfall. I was like, okay. And listen, the whole time I'm driving my motorcycle, I'm looking over my shoulder to make sure this person is not setting me up or whatever. And I'm like, and I'm so serious. And so as I was in the water or whatever, the person was like, okay, go stand next to the waterfall. I'll take a picture of you. I was like, I'm not getting this person my camera to take my picture. I was like, you have a camera? They were like, no. And so feeling so fearful and afraid and realizing I had so much fear in me. I had so much fear. And this person was literally doing this as an act of love. They just wanted me to have a good time. But I couldn't even trust them enough to feel safe there. So I'm telling you, if you look at the pictures, I look like this. Oh, I look really wonky in all the pictures.
We've all been there, sis.
Girl.
We've all been there.
Because
I remember when I
I'm
used to
trying
do
so hard.
Yeah. I love like when and I don't know if I'm definitely not the first person to do this, but when I did stand up in New York, like I would always be on stage with my backpack or with my purse.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't trust y'all. I'm not leaving my stuff in the green room.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's like maybe I was right about that. It was New York City after all, but
Hey, I'm from New York, girl. Calm it down, okay?
Yeah. But I do think it's really interesting, this idea of like holding space again for like those moments where you're like, I'm fearful right now. I'm fearful of you. But I know that we're just like souls dancing on this playground called Earth. And there's really nothing that I need to protect myself from. Like I am protected in the world, you know? So like what is there actually to be afraid of?
Yeah.
And that's another thing that the spiritual awakening like brought me to, of just like realizing when I'm out in the world, I like there are times where I'm afraid, but it's just kind of like showing me a mirror.
A mirror,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, am I afraid of you, or is it something within me that I'm actually like avoiding? You know what I mean? This is all just a reflection of me. Yeah. And maybe that's probably why I think when going through the spiritual awakening, like, I don't know if you can relate to this, but like I craved so much more time to myself than ever before. Like I was canceling shows and social obligations left and right because I was like, no, I think I really just need silence. I really just, that is such a crazy shift for me because I was a social butterfly growing up. you
Yeah.
know? And now I'm just kind of like, I get easily overwhelmed in social situations, even though I still love people, but it's like the stimuli is just, it can get really intense, you know? So
I
I
totally
tell this
get
to
it.
people all the time who are like, if they identify as introverts, which I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Introverts versus extroverts. I'm like, isn't everybody like, I think it just depends on what's going on in your life, but I don't
I
know.
personally feel
Yeah.
like we learn to cope and adapt and create different characters for different situations.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, based on how we grew up, based on what our environment was like, that personality that we developed in our youth, a large part of it was a coping mechanism.
Yes.
And so we took that into our adolescence and adult and being an adult. And with the spiritual awakening, it usually starts around mid to late 20s or whatever, early 30s. And you start questioning everything and you start saying, like, things just start freaking collapsing for you. And you realize this person that you thought you were not that person. So now for me, I kept going back saying, I'm a bubbly person. I'm a friendly person. Why am I not feeling bubbly and friendly? And I kept trying to persecute myself for not feeling bubbly and friendly. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. And so, but what I didn't realize was that that was the personality that I had to develop to feel safe in my environment.
Mm.
As a result, now I'm still bubbly and excited, but it's not like a one size fit all experience. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like, it's not
Absolutely.
stamped on every experience. It's I have to be in an environment that is conducive to that. I
Right.
have to be around people in which I want to share that part of myself with.
Absolutely.
Make sense? And I think that's one thing that the spiritual awakening does. It's going to you said that you felt yourself being isolated a lot, and it's very true because it's going to let you realize what you need to feel safe, emotionally safe, physically safe, spiritually safe, energetically safe. So the time alone gives you the time to realize what you need first. This society trains us to do for others. I don't believe in doing for others before yourself.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
have to
I
know
love you,
what.
but I love me more. It's a Sex and the
Yes,
City quote, but it works.
seriously.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to know what you need first before you can properly serve. And I remember when I first started doing healing, and I was just giving so much of myself to the community and healing, doing all this stuff in Brooklyn, and I kept feeling energetically depleted. I kept saying, "What is wrong? Like, I can't understand what's happening to me." When in reality, I was giving so much of myself, and I wasn't pouring that back into myself.
Yeah.
And so, as healers, people who are coaches, teachers, people who are leading others, you have to do three times, in my opinion, you have to do three times as much work on yourself as you do for other people.
Yeah. Wow.
Seriously, like before, like I'm telling you, and as you said, feeling like you get overwhelmed easily, so you do less now. I'm the same way. I
Yeah.
only do 4 appointments a week.
I
And so
love
if you're
that.
lucky to be one of the four, congratulations. Because I only do four appointments a week. Because before that, I was doing 5 to 6 a day.
Mm.
And I used to even beat up myself saying, why am I not able to produce like I was producing before that? No, I'm energetically sensitive. And so I do 4 appointments because that gives me enough time to cleanse myself, cleanse my energy, do my own spiritual practices, go and dance on the beach, go and
Yes.
sing in the rain. It gives me time in between those sessions to do things that fuel me.
Yes.
That's what a spiritual awakening does. It connects you back to you as the center of your universe. And everybody else are just people in your universe. They're not your universe.
Mm. Yeah. Wow. What a beautiful pouring into. That's so I feel like I'm being poured into right now as you said that. That was so beautiful. And it's such confirmation too, because I feel like this season is teaching me that it's okay to, as you said, be like the center of your universe, right? Like I think I grew up under the, like you said, like people pleasing, but just this idea that I should be selfless.
Yes.
And I think it was I think it was Glennon Doyle who was talking about like, I don't want to be selfish. less. Like, I don't want to be less of myself. Like, that's what people have been teaching us, to be
Yep.
less of ourselves. And if more people would just like focus inward and focus on them, I think the way that maybe we phrase it that's more comfortable is like mind the business that pays you,
Yeah.
right? I feel like people are waking up and realizing like you only need to take care of yourself, and what you can offer, like do it from a place of overflow,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I still, even though I know who I am and I have my tools and I can reconnect to it, I still sometimes need support and just like, yeah, don't like, hey Lauren, don't give when you're not full,
Yeah.
You fill
100%.
your well first.
That is very necessary. We've been so conditioned from birth, even sharing. I always go back to sharing because, like in kindergarten, they're like, "No, you got to share a piece of your orange with this person." I don't believe in that. Like it starts from young, girl.
Yeah, it
They
does.
start
It really
programming
does.
us from young. Like
Yes.
if I want to share, let me share. But
Mm,
to program a child from young saying they have to share, sharing is caring, and all those stuff, that begins the programming of the people pleasing. That begins all the programming of doing things to make others feel like as if you love them, or they need you. But then you begin to resent them because they're always coming to you for support. So it's like you have to get to a place where you come first. There's nothing in my life that does not move without me first. Like
yes.
literally, I get up in the morning. I spend the first maybe 3 to 4 hours of the day just doing things I like to do. I'm listening to music. I'm dancing like this in my bed. Or whatever. I'm meditating. I'm sitting down at my altar. I'm talking to my ancestors. Or whatever. I'm getting phone calls. I'm getting that stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't allow that to like to stop me. Like I put my phone on do not disturb, and I that's my intentional time with myself. So now, because I've already fueled up my gas tank, it gives me energy to show up for a 3 o'clock appointment. Be like, hey girl, what's going on? Talk to me. What's it like? Now I feel good in me now. You know what I mean? It's not coming
Absolutely.
from a place of, oh yeah, I was doing this appointment and now I'm doing this appointment. No, it's not coming from a haggard, tired place. Like you're getting the very best of me. And so I feel like once you place that value back on you, you can give people the very best that you have to offer and feel good about it. And that's what brings about your abundance. That's what brings about all the rippling effects, because that person is going to have an experience with you. I don't even call my stuff sessions. It's experiences. You're going to
Mm,
have this time to experience with me. And let's say our session says it's for 2.5 hours. It could be 4 hours. I don't care, because remember, I do one appointment a day.
yeah.
And so it's not about time. I just put the time because the human brain is going to want to know, okay, about how much time can I allocate. But in all honesty, there's no time with spirit. I could literally think, okay, I'm going to sit down at my altar for 10 minutes and pray, talk to my ancestors. 3 hours later, I'm like, what the hell is
Oh
that?
my God. That is a beautiful sign that like you are connected.
Mhm.
And I think it's one of those things too, like you were saying earlier, how it's like you were always, that version of you was always there. And I look back at my creative journey and I think of all the times that like so many times before my spiritual awakening, where like I was late to dinner or I was late for the show because I was writing and I wasn't looking at the clock. I was
Yeah.
like dreaming and I went to another realm, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is to me the evidence that like I've always had the connection and it's always been in me. And now it's just unshakable now. I really love, yeah, I can't see what their handle is, but the chat, yeah, that you're contributing is so great. It's really gassing me up.
Which one
There's
is
a
that?
bird right at my window just singing so loud. I love birds. Yeah.
Yes,
I had
that was
there was a
confirmation.
hummingbird's nest like literally I don't know if it's there anymore, but like for the last 2 months there was just like this hummingbird like nest like right outside of my window, and I don't know, I felt so blessed. I
Oh,
felt so blessed by
good.
that.
Well, thank
Um
you. Our energy are
yeah.
bouncing off of each other, and you are
Yes.
here to experience it. I always tell my clients, You only like me because there's a version of you
You, yes,
that's
yes, yes.
me in you. Like, and so
Hmm.
that's it. So that's why I don't get pressed when people don't like me or don't book my services or whatever. It doesn't matter because you
You're
have
a
to keep
magnet. Yeah. I feel
exactly.
like that's a big thing that I tell my clients too. Just like, listen, when you start really leaning into who you really are, you're gonna be so delicious to certain people, but you're going to make other people like want to vomit.
Yeah.
You're going to be repulsive to certain people, and I think it's like staying rooted, staying grounded in your wisdom and your
Yep.
truth
Yep.
is that's how you keep yourself from like letting the world like shake you and sweep you
Yep.
away, you know? You're
Yeah.
not of this world, you know?
Totally. And I
Yeah.
know we talk about validation. I always go back. We need validation. We need it. I'm not going to say we don't need it. We need validation. Even a child, as a child is learning how to walk, it's the parent saying, "You got it. You got it. Yes, you got it." That how that the child just keeps trying and getting up. So we need that validation. We need support. We need to feel seen. It's that when you are putting that above how you see yourself, how you validate
Yes.
yourself, that's when
Beautifully
it
said.
becomes a problem because
Yes.
people are just mirroring you. And so because I spend a lot of time with my own energy and I'm just like loving on myself and doing all these things, when I step outside, I get validation everywhere. At the supermarket, people are like, "Oh my gosh, I love this, that, and that. I love your hair. I love this." I get it everywhere. But it's because I know it's because they're just reflecting to me what I put into me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yes.
I accept it. I'm like, "Thank you. I appreciate it." But their validation of me never becomes bigger than my validation of myself.
Yes. Yes, yes,
Never.
yes.
I do not
That's
allow
so
it
good. Yeah.
because what
I'll
happens is
be
that
honest, I'm still working on that.
it's a
I'm
process,
still working
girl.
on that.
It's
Yeah.
a process. Every level requires a new version of you and a new version that can accept different levels of validation. Every level, whatever your I don't like saying weakness, but challenge. Whatever your challenge is, as you continue to ascend and work on yourself and get to different levels of your healing journey, that challenge is going to be presented in a new way.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be presented in a new way. And so because it's so insidious, it's we that's why we can never say, "Oh, I've arrived,"
Mm-hmm.
because we're
Yeah.
always arriving.
I learned that recently of like one of my coaches actually was like, because I was in the group just like I'm so ready to go all the way off. I'm ready to like launch all the things and just create, create, create. And she was like, that's wonderful. We love the energy, but sometimes with the I'm ready energy, we have expectations, you know? And expectations when they aren't met can then lead to disappointment. And it's like there's nothing wrong with having expectations. God knows, like I have standards. I have standards for
Say
myself, and
that
I
again. Okay.
Lord knows I have standards.
hmm
But it's like sometimes like I'll get so ahead of myself in the desires and the things that I want that
Yeah.
I will like, and this is kind of like the insidious nature of the ego sometimes, where like just to give you an example, in New York, I thought that my desire was to be a stand-up comedian, you know? And I'm like, now on the other side of all of that, I'm like, that really wasn't the desire. It wasn't, that was an ego desire of like wanting to be a popular, well-known comedian. But the true part of me wanted to enjoy connecting with people and sharing my truth on a platform that allowed us to just laugh at life. And like my whole thing was like shining a light on the hypocrisies and the way we live and the paradoxes and like why do we do things this way and what's the deal with that? You know, like that the desire was in expressing myself. It was not in like how will this be a career, you know?
Yep.
So I think, and again, like this is continuous work, but where I am today is just remembering like there's nothing wrong with standards, but trading I'm ready for I'm open.
Yeah, that's it. That right there. It's that right there. Because yeah, we need to have standards in life. You know, we
Yeah.
you need to have a certain quality of how you desire your life to be. You know, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. But being open to how it comes.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that too, and that's a continuous process for me too. Because like you, I always saw myself as a motivational speaker, a teacher, traveling, speaking on the stages of the world, doing all this amazing stuff, not realizing this is what I'm doing right here.
Yeah.
Appreciating it when it's like this,
Yeah.
and it doesn't need to be this like this before I see it that I'm already living in that manifestation.
Right. Like it's okay because it could get like this
I
and
know
it
it
probably
will.
will. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but being
like,
open and receiving it how it comes
yes.
right now.
Yes. Like the way that I was before, it was like I was like, "Oh, this better work out. Love you, God." You know what I mean? Just kind of like
Girl,
as a
you preach
bye.
to the choir. Yes. Me too. I'm like, God, listen, yeah, okay, uh-huh.
Yeah.
But it's what I
Okay, I
focus
know there's a
on.
plan, blah blah blah. When's it gonna happen?
And so I think that's when you begin to trade. Okay, I know that I believe in soul contracts. That how
Yeah.
before we come here we make a contract saying I'm going to come down here and this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to do X. So I'm going to help the collective in this way and all this amazing things. And
Yeah.
so what happens is that we get down here and the conditioning is so real and so intense and so deep that we get down here, we like, oh, this is lit for real. Like we start having fun. Like my 20s and 30s, I had so much fun. You know what I mean? Just doing it. And
Yeah.
so now it was like, what soul calling? What soul purpose you talking about? Granted, I've always been this person, but I was more goal oriented.
Mm.
I was goal oriented. I come from a corporate background. I worked in corporate. My goal was to like continue to climb the corporate ladder and see myself at CEO level, all these things. And God was like, no,
Yeah.
no, that was not part of your contract. So I'm gonna rip that job from you. Yep. I'm going to rip that home from you. I'm gonna take that too. Yep. I'm going to rip your car from you. Take that too. Now let me see who you are without any of these things. And literally, I went through cycles of doubt, depression, anxiety, up, down, sideways, trying to figure out who the hell am I now? Because I had already built this identity. So it's not until I let go of it, it took a long time for me to let go of that identity that I built based on all the lies and conditioning that they could put me in that I didn't even like, but I had to let it all go and let people see behind the curtains,
Yeah. Wow.
saying this is who I am. This is who I am, and I'm gonna be this way, and I'm not afraid of people judging me, people seeing me continuously fall and stand up again and fall and stand up again. Like I just had to be okay with that, and that's when things started changing for me. Because at that point now, it's like I was no longer the God in my life because God was back here, back there. You know what I mean? Before he was God was back here. I was no longer the
Yes.
God in my life, and I said I'm allowing Spirit to just connect me back to what my soul purpose is, my soul calling is, and I'm going to do it. I said and then of course my expectations were, but not my expectation, but I said I'm going to do this, but I need to do this in a way that feels comfortable for me, in a way that gives me the lifestyle in which I desire. I need to do that. I said I'm going to do this, but I also, because you can speak to your spirit guides, you can speak to your ancestors just like this. I'm going to do this. I need to feel safe emotionally, physically, mentally safe. I need to be provided for. I need to be in a wonderful home or whatever, where my energy feels good, where I can sing and dance, not have to worry about neighbors knocking on my walls. Like, calm down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So now it's a dialogue happening now between you, your spirit guides, your ancestors, and they're like, okay, we can provide you with this. So I'm still doing the work, and the other stuff is coming in. I'm still doing it, and the other stuff is coming in, and it's less, but it's like I'm not chasing it with that intense drive that I was doing before, because that intense drive only created more anxiety, more doubt, more insecurity in self.
I mean, this is so, yeah. I mean, you're talking surrender. I love that. It is like, yeah, eventually, and I think maybe for me, it was why I thought, like, oh, I've been through it. That's why I'm a spiritually awakened person. And it's like, no, it's not just that. like, yes, things will probably start to break and, you know, you'll experience resistance and like higher sensitivity. But it's also like this realization that it's for you, you know? It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And like, sir, I think trusting that, even though it hurts in the moment, again, going back to that thing of like it's temporary. But for me, that was always like a triggering thing too, because growing up in the church, you know, and it's so funny because I'm like, there's still parts of the Bible that I go to. I still, you know, Jesus is my homeboy. I still
Yeah.
got that hoodie and wear it proudly. But it's like I would hear dismissive things like, oh, this too shall pass. You know what I mean? And it was like, instead of feeling heard and seen, it's like, oh, you'll get over it. You're just a kid. You know what I mean? And so it's like this balance and this harmony that comes from the spiritual awakening is realizing like it's okay to want permission, it's okay to want help, support, and sometimes that does show up as validation.
Yeah.
But recognizing, like you said, that it is your responsibility to like receive and surrender to receiving, right? Um, yeah, huge. Such confirmation for me in this conversation. I'm loving it.
That is so beautiful. I'm so excited. Anybody have any questions or want to share their experiences with their awakening? Feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll go ahead and we'll share them out. Let's discuss them, because one thing I always say, I wish I had support during this. I wish I had support, but I do remember, huh?
I feel like if I had support, especially like in my like mid 20s when I was like in the thick of what I think could have been the like spiritual awakening or whatever, um yeah, it would have been really wonderful to have like mentors. But
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing until like
Yeah.
a few years
Same.
ago.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. You are very welcome, Alchemize and Rise. Yes,
Alchemize and
confirmation is that.
Rise. That's the handle? Sorry.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Uh-huh. That is really good, isn't it?
Alchemize
Yeah.
and Rise. That's a mantra. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy
Yes,
you're getting so much
seriously.
value.
Like, I think that the more we are open about these discussions, having these conversations about what we're experiencing, we literally don't know what we don't know.
Right.
Society has this like, it's like the Truman Show, the Truman movie, where it's like they
Mm,
have everything from TV to celebrities to this. It's this image they want you to buy into, so that you can want to be that image, so that you feel that if you're experiencing any vulnerability, any kind of anything that's relating to your spiritual side, or anything that's emotional, you feel almost bad to share it,
yeah.
because everything is perfect. In the perfect world, if you were doing the things you were supposed to do, quote unquote, you wouldn't be experiencing these things. If you were a good person, quote unquote, you wouldn't be experiencing these things. Like, it's all this rhetoric, and it's all lies. It's all lies. And I believe that one of my missions in this lifetime is to really dismantle a lot of that, because that caused unnecessary shame and guilt for me. Because I
Yeah.
had the good job, I had the car, I had all of that, but I was still afraid to tell people that I was hurting people that were in my life.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People who I talked to every single day and supported them in their own journees. I was
Mm,
afraid to let them know, because all of a sudden I felt like that was a sign of weakness. Where every day, even when I get on this app and I make videos, I literally tell myself, we're going to tell the truth today. We're going to tell the whole truth today. It's not going to be, yes, I was doing this and this, and then I got this amazing car. No, I went through hell. I went through hell. I was literally eating beans from Target. Every week I was going to Target to buy 69-cent beans.
no target. Yeah.
Yes. And because I
Yeah.
couldn't afford anything else. So I literally tell the whole fucking truth. That
Yes.
way, I don't want no one, not one person believing, yes, she just became spiritual and her life changed. No, it wasn't that.
It's yeah, I think social media has really like made the spiritual awakening too sexy. I'm like, it is no, it is not that. It is
Hmm.
it's ugly. It's the ugly cry, y'all. Like,
Hmm.
um, and that actually I feel like I saw one of your services, maybe you work with like plant medicine. I will say, I think plant medicine was a big part of like facilitating my spiritual awakening. At the end of 2021, it was the first time I had ever like sat with mushrooms intentionally. Like
Yeah.
before that, it was like, it was not well intended.
It was here for a good
But
time.
yeah, no, but there's so much power. That was where
Yeah.
I learned like, oh wow, like what you say is actually really what happens, you know? And not just what you say, but like how you say it, you know?
Yeah.
And the emotion behind it. I always tell, like, I'm like, I think the way that people think about affirmation sometimes is a little warped because it's not just like say it as many times as you can first thing in the morning. Like to me, it's like feel it, feel into it.
You have to
And
feel
even
into
if
it.
it feels, you know, because sometimes I felt like I started saying things where I was like, this feels a little dysregulating. But
Hmm.
then it's like, it's uncomfortable, but then I get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
it is. That's what it
And,
is.
and like having like mentors, like not to brag, like you and me, because we're dope. Having people like us, like
All
I
right, girl. That's it.
no,
Uh-huh.
no, we're
Seriously.
like you already know, but I'm like I can't tell you how many times a week I'm just like if there were a me for 25-year-old me, oh man, it would be. So I think that's what really motivates me is helping people who maybe I feel like they were like stuck or lost in a similar way that I once felt, you know?
Yeah. 100%. And one of the best things in this journey, we're just gonna we're just gonna talk about one or two things, and then we're gonna kind of start wrapping it up. But
Okay.
one thing I would say is that one of the best things in this journey is letting people come to their own awareness of where they are and what they need.
Facts.
Because because I was that helper that because I'm a seer, I was able to see into people's lives and be like, girl, you need help with this. So I'm telling them this information, but that information hasn't yet landed in their reality for them.
Right.
So they may have experienced that as judgment.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah.
Yeah. They may have experienced that as me feeling I'm superior to them or whatever. And I lost a lot of friends and I lost a lot of relationships
Yeah.
because
I
because
mean, it's that's definitely ringing a bell. Like I'm like, oh yeah, you do. It's like I sometimes it's like I come a certain ways and I forget how I used to be, and it's like, yeah, I feel like I caused a lot of turmoil and like groups that I was in because I was
yeah,
so I felt it was just like, oh, I'm just outspoken and opinionated. But it's like,
yeah.
no man, there's a time and a space and a place.
Yep.
And when people are ready for it, they will let you know.
Yes, because I
Yeah.
just think about my experience. When I was ready, I literally was like, Spirit, I'm ready. And I just feel like there's so much I need to be doing, but I don't know what to do. Like, I would just feel it. And so I used to just pray, Spirit, send me a teacher. I said, just send me a teacher. Just send me a teacher. That was my prayer every single day. I didn't pray for money. I didn't pray for anything. I used to just say, send me a teacher. Send me a teacher. And I kid you not, I just literally heard, get up and go to Bali. And I was just like, what? That was out of left field. Like, what the hell is that? And so that was, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And I was just like, that felt so far. I was just like, I'd never been to Bali. I'd never ever thought about going to Bali or whatever. And it was just like, get up and go to Bali. And at the time, I was not in a financial position to go to Bali. But I said, all right. I said, provide me with the way to go to Bali, and I'm gonna go.
Mm.
And I kid you not, I'm telling you, you got to be really specific sometimes because this shit is gonna work. It's gonna work for real.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine, her mother reached out to me and asked me to help her rearrange her home. So I'm like, girl, I got two master's degrees. I got this. I got that. The hell I'm helping you rearrange your home? Like, girl, get it together. That's what I'm saying to myself. And I literally heard a tiny voice said, "Do it." I said. I was hesitant.
Yeah.
And I just kept hearing, do it. And I said, okay, fine. I let it go. And I went and did that. And when I went to her house, she had a room full of comic books.
Oh,
She said, I was dating somebody who was into comic books. I'm not into comic books. You can throw all of these out. You can have them. You can do whatever you want to do with them. She had a room full of comic books. When I tell you a room full, like a room full of comic books.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So there were probably like 50,000 comic books or more.
Wow.
And so I said, okay. I went back to my house. I picked up a truck or whatever, and like I put them up in the truck. I put them in storage, sold them, went to Bali, lived there in Bali, met my teacher, changed my whole life. That was like the beginning of my awakening.
Wow. Okay, so how long were you in Bali?
For a few months or whatever.
Oh my
I would go there. Yeah, it was beautiful. Like I lived there. I have a home there and everything, and I would go back and forth.
Yeah.
And I met so many beautiful people, and I was just like, I met my teacher there, but I didn't know that he was there. I didn't know. It wasn't until I just bought the ticket. I was literally following one impulse to the next impulse. So this is how your own spirit, your own intuition is talking to you. It's one impulse to the next impulse to the next impulse. And not being hard-headed. Granted, I still did what they told me to do, but I was like, I'm not, because my ego was like, girl, what's wrong with you?
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
the ego is like the ego always focuses on the circumstances of
yeah,
today. It's like the reality, sis, is, and there's a part of you that needs to go beyond that. You know what I mean? I
beyond that.
think there's a kind of transcendence that with the after a spiritual awakening is easier, but it's still a freaking ride, you know? It's a journey. So, yeah, maybe we have to do another live because I'm like, I want to hear about your life in Bali. That's so cool.
Oh my gosh, yes, we could definitely do another one. And
Yeah,
it's
I would
just
love
like,
to.
I think it makes you realize that the universe is always working with you. Your mouth, if you can learn anything from here, what you say here, we have several portals in our body, but our mouth is one of the most powerful portals. It literally, we're speaking the things that we want or don't want into the world. And the crazy thing is really the things we want, because even the things you don't want, you speak out, becomes the things you want. Because the universe only understands what you want.
Yeah.
And so if you say, I don't want no broke ass Negro doing this, okay, we're gonna send you this broke ass Negro doing this, and that. You know what I mean?
Because that's what you're focusing on. Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's what you're focusing on. Yeah.
You have to be so intentional. Before I was living in Huntington Beach, I kept saying to myself, I am a wealthy, free woman living in Huntington Beach, California.
Ooh.
I'm a wealthy, free woman living in Huntington Beach, California.
Wow. I love that. Yeah.
I saw myself, and I said, I don't know how it's going to happen, but that's the person who I'm looking to embody. So that one statement.
Do you identify as, I don't know the differences, but like clair, sentience, audience, all the clair?
I have all of them.
You have all of them?
Audience, yeah, I have all of them.
What is the one where I feel like for me, it's not, I don't have like a literal voice, but it's more like a gut. Like what's like when you know, like just do it. You know what I mean?
Clear cognizance. That's when you just know. It's a knowing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. All of the best things that have ever happened that never make sense. Mm-hmm. It was always from this, like, it was like kind of like I was doing like a pelvic thrust towards it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like start a podcast. Like what? Well, I don't know how to do that. Like, oh, move to New York. Oh, move to LA. And whenever the funny thing about your share too, and I won't like ramble too much, but I think it's so beautiful because it's like when you take a step, more steps reveal themselves.
Yep.
And if we can just let go of needing to see A to Z and just be okay with A, like it's gonna work out. Just one step at a time, you know?
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Anyone have any more questions? Yeah, I definitely think we need another one. Like, I want to dive into even you and everywhere you move to. Because as a creative, I think this is what people call the creative mind. Like creatives will just feel inspired to do something and we'll do it, right?
Yes.
But in reality, it's because we're following that impulse.
100%.
Creatives, their center of focus, they have a deep connection with spirit because we are creators. As human
Yes.
beings, we are creators. So a creator creates. And creatives are naturally always creating. And so that's why they're always moving and things are always is seemingly just happening for them. But it's not
Wow.
just happening for them, it's because they're creating.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're just living in this world and just taking it for face value, okay, my bank account says I only have $3, so I can't do anything because I only have $3 or whatever. You are not creating.
Mhm.
You are just taking whatever you're being given and putting more value in that than the creative forces that you have, even speaking out. That's free. It's free to speak that reality. When I started speaking that reality, I kid you not, a program I applied to 4 years ago sent me an $8,000 check.
Woo.
I said,
Yes, checks.
after
Yes.
denying me 2 times,
Wow.
after denying me for the same program 2 times.
Wow.
But it's like, it doesn't make mental sense. It doesn't make logical sense. You have to keep speaking the reality in which you want. So even as you're going through awakening, not getting so caught up in what you're experiencing, but focusing on what the life in which you see yourself as, the life you want to experience, because that's a whole nother part of the universe that's going to begin creating that. If you just keep focusing on, oh, my situation's not good, I'm going through this, I'm going through this, you're just going to get more of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, law of attraction. We're magnets. Like we could talk about this forever.
Forever. But please
Forever.
share with everyone how they can connect with you, in what ways, and all that good stuff
Oh,
before we hop off.
sure. So yeah, obviously follow me on TikTok and I'm at LL Cool Clark here and on Instagram. And then I also have a podcast. It's called the Black Creator Connection Podcast. You can check that out wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And then if you are interested in working with me, I have 2 spots left for my one-on-one. And then I probably won't be coaching one-on-one again until next year because I'm writing a book. And for people who are still wanting to work with me after the one-on-one spots go, I also am creating a group container for creative entrepreneurs. And it's basically like we meet 3 times a month. We do like 3 weekly meetings and then 1 week off for integration. And that is really just a space where, you come, we talk about how we're really doing, how we're really feeling, the things that we're going through, the things that we want to celebrate. And then there'll usually be like a theme where like I'll teach about like manifesting or, law of attraction. A lot of what I talk about in that space is law of attraction and just like staying focused on your goals. So yeah, that's how to hit me up. Hit me up if you're into it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And so for me, yes, of course, follow me is Oracle Mimi on Instagram. I'm Intuit Blends. I have a company which I also make soul healing products to support you in your awakening. Everything from energy cleansing stuff, things to help you balance your energy, stabilize your mood, and things of the sort. As well as if you're interested in anything I have to say, just book a consultation. Consultations is where I get to kind of work with the person, help them process what's going on with themselves, as well as help them to begin to create a plan to get to the next step. And so to just book a consultation, it says an hour, it can be an hour, and it can be 2 hours, because that's what we do as shamans. As shamans, I let spirit guide me, and so that being the case, your experience is always going to be different than somebody else's experience. And so I just want to say, yeah, that's how you can connect with me, and or join the mailing list as well. And that's it. It's been such a beautiful time. We're definitely going to get back on here again and connect. And Lauren, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful, amazing light and your information and just the wealth of your being with us today. It was beautiful to witness.
It's an honor. Thank you so much for having me. Like it's always so fun to connect with you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Later.